presents the 72-hour alarm, a color film report on 3 spectacular days in the history of the Chicago Fire Department. It all began here on Chicago's near South Side shortly after noon on November 12, 1964. The scene of the blaze is a vacant 4-story apartment building. Within minutes of the first alarm, 5 extra alarms and 3 specials are sounded. The intense heat of the flames is magnified by 60-mile-an-hour winds. More men and equipment arrive and are quickly deployed to strategic locations around the burning building. Before it's over, 200 firemen and 45 pieces of equipment will join the battle. Reporters talks with City Fire Commissioner Robert Quinn about the cause.
What caused it? Any idea yet?
Well, they're demolishing most of these buildings here, and like all of them, we don't know. We're trying to find out, and we're going to find out about this one. The thing that we're concerned with is the possibility of a fire like this getting away, and then giving the city of Chicago something to think about.
But for now, there's no time to think about anything but containing the fire. It's firmly entrenched, and the gale force winds keep rekindling flames that seemed to be out only moments ago. Helicopter high above the street, one member of the WGN News team gets a panoramic view. The fire is under control at last, but the howling wind still threatens to plant sparks at some vulnerable point in the surrounding area. Tons of water are poured into the smoldering shell in a desperate effort to hold down the sparks. But it's already too late. 2 blocks away, a second spectacular fire already is roaring out of control. Equipment from the first fire is quickly shifted to this new one in a 3-story apartment building. The first men on the scene find the top 2 floors engulfed in flames. Once again, they're fighting not only fire and smoke, but high winds. Within 30 minutes, most of the 175 men who will be called to fight this second fire are on the scene. Hoses are dragged up to the fire line, and in spite of the scorching heat of the flames, ladders are hoisted into place against the walls of the burning building. But the risk proves to be too great. Hour after weary hour passes as the firemen pour water into the flames from every angle. The flames are under control, although the burned-out building will continue to smolder for many more hours. 8 firemen are overcome by smoke, but all occupants of the building are safe. And the long, hot, dangerous job is nearly over. But less than 24 hours later, the alarm sounds again, this time for a stubborn, smoky blaze in the sprawling Goldblatt Brothers warehouse on the city's southwest side. The fire smolders through the night, and on the next morning, equipment is still at the scene. Unlike the earlier blazes, the core of this one is centered deep inside the building. For 17 hours, smoke rolls up from the warehouse while firemen try to reach the flames hidden down in the interior. It's a difficult and frustrating job, and the lack of open flame makes it even more so. The unspectacular nature of the fire also tends to obscure the fact that this is the worst blaze in terms of damage Chicago has seen in 25 years. The final damage figure will be $2.5 million, and nearly half the city's firemen will take part in the operation before it's all over. Furthermore, this is the first time in 30 years that Chicago is forced to call in units from suburban towns to help. In all, 7 special alarms are set out, and even then, many hours elapse before the blaze is finally struck. On Saturday morning, the fire is declared under control, but the dense smoke has taken its toll. 44 firemen are overcome, and several are taken to nearby hospitals. The helicopter pilot starts back toward his home base when suddenly, in the distance, he spots the familiar signal of smoke. Time, it's a 5-story warehouse located 2 miles due south of the loop, and there's no time to waste. The flames already are threatening to leap the gap to other buildings nearby. By the time firefighting units arrive on the scene, the building is already a total loss. Again, the best they can do is try to keep it from spreading. This time their task is complicated by a lack of ready equipment. Much of it is still committed to the earlier fire. Units are now on hand, and they pour water into the flaming building as fast as pressure will permit. But the wind has sprung up again, and it fans the flames into new life as quickly as they start to die down. Lingers on, mingling steam with the columns of thick white smoke. But our helicopter and the firemen are soon on their way again, this time to a railroad freight loading dock half a mile to the north. Sparks and burning embers from the last fire have touched off still another one. And like the others, it has a good head start when the first firemen arrive on the scene. By now, the shortage of equipment is critical, and only 1 snorkel and 13 other pieces of equipment can be spared to fight this fire. Despite their best efforts, firemen are unable to confine the blaze to the loading dock where it apparently began. wind carries sparks into the freight cars along the siding, but firemen track them down as quickly as possible to prevent the flames from getting a new foothold. By mid-afternoon, the freight yard is reduced to smoldering rubble, but the last flicker of flame has gone out. The firemen and our camera crew have come through 3 grueling days of non-stop action. The 72-hour alarm is over.